So I have been stuck for a long time, and maybe you are stuck as well in making all these YouTube videos, right? These YouTube videos are supposed to be tough, right? You're supposed to do all this keyword research. You're meant to do all of this planning and strategizing and all these sorts of things to get going on YouTube. And a lot of people have done that, and they've made it their job, and they've made it their work, and they've been quite successful at it. But for some reason, that just didn't work for me. I wanted to figure out like what's a model that actually would work for me. So I spent 6 months trying to I took tons and tons of notes. I watched hundreds and hundreds of videos to try and figure out how to make YouTube work. I learned about thumbnail optimization, keyword research, and storytelling hooks that take you from point A to point B, and it just keeps you hooked the entire time. And I saw all these beautiful filmmaking techniques that I really wish I had the time and energy to go out there and create, but I don't. I'm a dad, I'm working, I'm doing all these sorts of things, and I just want to share myself. I want to tell good, interesting stories. But I think more than anything, what I'm starting to realize is that even though my goal initially on YouTube was to tell stories about the future that can hopefully inspire other people, the real source of change and growth has to be me. I am the one who has to change, because if I'm not changing, what's the point? And so I think what I'm learning into or leading into is this idea that my life is the content, right? The life that I'm living, the growth that I'm going on, the projects and things that I'm trying out and taking on, that has to be the source of all of my content, right? It forces an amount of self-reflection into me, and hopefully it helps other people. And the funny thing about this is that this has always been the way that I would blog, right? I remember back in high school, this would have been 15, 20 years. My God, that seems like a long time ago. 15, 20 years ago, I would blog all the time. I would write about everything that I'm learning, all the things that really excited me. And I would just come home from school and I would, pick something interesting and I would write it out. And that blog grew quite a bit of a following. I would write on these other sorts of sites, and all of those sites had quite a following, until I shut it all down because I was immensely embarrassed by a lot of the stuff that I wrote back then. But they were popular, right? People read them, people responded to them, people commented on them, people found it valuable. And I think that's what it's really all about, right? Did I grow? Yes, I did. Did I overthink it? No, I didn't. I just sat down and I created things just naturally because it came to me. And that's more of the energy that I wanted to lean into right now. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how high of a production quality you have in these videos. What matters is you showing up and sharing something that can be of value, that can be of help to someone else. And it gives you a chance to connect with someone else, right? If someone else watches this and feels connected to it, I think I've done my work. That's really all that matters. And so I'm going away from this idea of YouTube being a thing that I'm building for someone else. And instead of making it into about, well, this is a reflection of the growth that I am going on, the lessons that I've learned, the ideas that I'm sort of thinking about, the books that I'm reading and sort of learning from, and I'm leaning a lot more into that sort of idea. And I think if we did that, all this pressure we have about creating, going out and researching new things tends to go away. And I think it's also a lot more genuine and authentic, because there's a different energy that comes from strategically planning out every single thing and creating something for someone else versus creating something for myself, right? This realization that I've had, this video that I'm making right now, has come from months and months of immense frustration. And I'm talking right now to the camera without any script at all. I just have a couple of points in my head and I'm just speaking it out loud, because it's so much easier to talk because I've lived it, right? There's an energy, there's a passion that hopefully comes across to you, but it certainly comes across as I'm speaking it out loud. So it's very satisfying for me to even create this. It's very creatively freeing for me to show up and create a video like this. So the biggest lesson I have to share with you today is that forget all of these hundreds of videos out there. Pick your life as the source of everything. Grow in your life. Go out there and do interesting things, and then the content will follow. Don't make content as the primary thing, being like, how do I make the most interesting content? Instead, ask yourself, how can I make the most interesting life? And then go out there and live it. And the really interesting thing is that, as I'm recording this and I'm thinking about a lot of the other videos that I want to make, the creation part becomes so easy from this process. And there's a power to the momentum from this process as well. So momentum has its own power. So go out there, start creating, build that momentum, and we're going to go really far. Thanks.